Hello, business building warrior. Welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio, the podcast that features incredible interviews with real people who have built real businesses using the strategies that we teach on this show. And we've got a guest today who's done exactly that. We're going to meet him in just a moment. His name is Tim. Check this out. He's got a full-time career job. That's his main responsibility. He's married. He's got a daughter. They've got a busy life. But they've managed to build a business that just did $500,000 plus at great margins, as you're about to hear, using strategies they learned from this community. They're proven Amazon course students. If you're not familiar with that, there's a link at silentjimdotcom to just about everything you're going to hear in the show today. The show notes will have links to everything. So look for the notes near this episode. We'll have links to all of it. Proven Amazon course was what introduced them to this community after a friend invited them. I think he said his name was Max. His friend Max said, "Hey, Tim, you got to come check out this community," because they were doing a little e-commerce before with some success, by the way. And then they really took off once they joined our community. I love several aspects of the conversation I'm going to have with Tim today. One is the fact that they're coming to our conference. Tim is on his way to Orlando with us. He'll be joining the last 3 days of May. You're going to hear me talk about it a lot. I apologize if you've heard about it so much that you're sick of hearing me mention it, but there's always new people listening, so bear with me. The last 3 days of May 2025, that's the 29th, the 30th, and the 31st of May, come to Orlando. The website that has all the information is theprovenconference.com. Rooms are only $109 per night at a fantastic resort right next to SeaWorld. You can come a few days early, stay a few days late, enjoy a great vacation on top of 3 days spent with hundreds of incredible fellow listeners to this podcast and 40 plus breakout sessions taught by people who are doing the businesses that they're teaching you about. It's an incredible community of abundance, opportunity, encouragement, and real people building real businesses using the ideas we talk about all day, every day around here. Like I said, our guest today, Tim, is going to spend some time talking about his experience last year at this event, which was held, by the way, at the exact same location. He had a great experience. I didn't know he was going to talk about it. I didn't even know he attended last year, but he did, and he talks about it in a way that I think is going to convince you, if you're not convinced yet. You need to be a part of that event. Now, if you can't make it to Orlando, we do have live stream and virtual attendance opportunity for you. There's already 1,200 people in the Facebook group for this event. It's going to be incredible. That's the private Facebook group for this event. 1,200 people. Can you believe that? So we're going to be broadcasting live stream if you can't make it. All the details are at this website. 3-word long. Ready? theprovenconference.com. There we go. All right. So what else are we going to meet from Tim today? He mentions a service called Hummingbird a couple times. Now, what happened with Tim is he started, like we recommend all new sellers start, with reselling, meaning selling other people's stuff online. He created some unique bundles because of his wife's side business that he describes. So they're selling some bundles. Then they started really building a brand and getting serious. And that's when they started using our service called Hummingbird. Now, rather than tell you all about it right now, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say, hey, if you want some of the services that you hear Tim talking about today, getting brand registered, building a brand, getting a trademark, professional images, those kinds of things that go along with some of the more advanced students in our community, we've helped a lot of people have success in those arenas. Just reach out to our coaching team. There's a link at silentjim.com, or if you want to get on our schedule, you can go to silentjim.com/book-a-call. That gets you a free half-hour consultation with my team talking about where you are in e-commerce, what services of ours that might benefit you the most. We'd love to give you some free resources, tell you all about what we do here, and give you a good roadmap forward into the lane that you need to be in as a seller. So we really want to help you get on the right path. We've helped a lot of other people do that, as you've heard on this show. All right, so what else do we talk about today with our guest, Tim? We talked about bundles. We talked about Hummingbird. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good introduction. I mean, they're doing all this out of their garage. One of the things that we talked about was the fact that they're just now going to start looking at a prep center, which means they're not going to have their inventory in their own home anymore. They're going to have it all sent to a prep partner, someone else who puts the tape on the boxes and labels everything and sends it to Amazon. Now, it's going to take them a little margin, a little profit's going to have to be spent to do that, but they're going to free up their time so they can expand their business. That was a fun topic today as well. But the bottom line is the business opportunity of selling on Amazon as a reseller is exploding. And we have dozens of incredible recent episodes from our students who are saying over and over and over again, the opportunity is growing. This is a beautiful business model. Hey, we'd love to help you get started on that path. If you're wondering where to start, if you're convinced and saying, okay, Jim, I want to get going, how much is it going to cost me? Let me just dwell on that for a moment, and then we'll get Tim on the line. It's going to cost you $39 per month for our complete library of training that we discussed a little bit on today's episode. I'm talking about the Proven Amazon course, not the conference, the course, provenamazoncourse.com. That's the website. There's a link in the show notes. $39 a month gets you our full library. You get right what you need, right when you need it, steps you through. We've got a new seller roadmap. It's called the Getting Started Roadmap that steps you through one baby step at a time, getting into this arena. Once you have your confidence, you have proof of concept, the sky's the limit. If you've got a few $100s and you can afford $39 per month to get our training library, you've got everything you need to start down this road and to build a beautiful business. And Tim, our guest today, is just the latest example of exactly that. If you're coming to our conference, be sure to tell Tim you heard this episode. Go up to him, meet him, shake his hand, or any of the other guests you've heard recently talking about our upcoming conference. It's a very friendly place, lots of good people. You can get some good tips on what to expect from that event and hopefully get some encouragement and specific advice as well. Well, that's enough of an opening segment for this episode. Hope to see you in Orlando. Make plans, join us. If you can't, be there virtually. We've put a lot of work into this event, and you're going to absolutely love it. Tim shares a good number of things that he came away with last year that I think is going to encourage and inspire you. Well, let's get over and get Tim on the line right now. Enjoy the rest of the episode. So, Tim, welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio. Good to see you, man.
Hi, Jim, and thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. My favorite part of my job, doing these interviews. Always love having guests on from the community. So let's get into your story if you're ready for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, look, my first introduction to e-commerce was in 2019. And the whole story started with my wife's hobby, in fact. So I think the story will be slightly different from a lot of those on your podcast, since we did not start on Amazon. So our first experience with e-commerce was on Etsy and a Facebook group.
Okay.
So what basically happened is that, she was looking for some stuff for her hobbies. And then at some point she realized, look, I can actually do that stuff myself. And we thought, okay, why not? So it all started with a few handmade, things on Etsy. We opened the shop there and started to sell on a Facebook group, and did it for a while. And really was just a side hustle for us, not much. Then I would say in a year or so, one of the customers asked her, why don't you open your own Facebook group and sell it there instead of just using other groups? I said, yeah, why not? So we started our group in 2020, 2021, our own website. And 2022 is when one of my good friends, and if he's listening, Max, hello, introduced me to the Silent Sale Machine and the community. And it started with him saying, hey, why don't you sell on Amazon? There's a great community there. You should listen to some of these podcasts. I said, like, what podcasts? And he said, like, there's a guy called Jim Cockram, and there's some podcasts. You'll like it. And I said, okay.
Oh, that's great. Well, thanks, Max.
Yeah. Send me the link and let me see what it is. And so he sent me the links. I started to listen to some of the podcasts, I don't know, maybe like 10 or so at the time. And then I joined the Facebook group and the pack.
Oh, you got the Proven Amazon course. We call it the pack. Yes. Okay. So you jumped all in. I got you. There's links to all that at silentjimdotcom, by the way, for the listener's sake. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah, that's right. And the first thing is obviously you need to know how to start, right? So I thought, okay, what is the first thing to do? And at that time, there was a course, I think it was called Amazon 101 or something similar. Mm-hmm. I think it was Jimmy Smith.
Yeah, we still have it, updated it recently, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And at that time, it was still the old one. So I was watching that, and I was literally amazed how simple it looks when he was literally doing it real time, well, not real time, but recorded online, searching for products that could have literally be sold for like twice or three times the price on Amazon. I was like, oh, I never thought it's possible.
Mhm.
And what we thought then, okay, we have our website, we have our, Etsy shop, we have some suppliers, and why don't we try to sell the same products, but now on Amazon? Because for the first time, we learned this notion of replan, right? We've never heard it
Mhm.
before.
Mhm.
But for us, replan could also be the product we already have from our
Sure.
suppliers. It doesn't need to be retail arbitrage or online arbitrage necessarily, right?
Right. Okay.
So we thought, okay, why don't we use the same products? They are replenishable for us in essence because we can always reach out to our suppliers, order more, etc. And we found that some of them are actually sold on Amazon, and the price, is profitable for us, and we can start actually adding Amazon to our portfolio. So, long story short, few months in, we reached our first plateau. It was at about 6,000 a month, where we probably used all the products we had on our website and Etsy shop. We started it on Amazon, and pretty quickly we got to this level. But for the next 12 months, I would say this is where we stayed. So it was not too much time spent on that. It was stable, a little bit of a side money, but like not much.
Mhm.
Let's put it this way, right?
Mhm.
So what we thought later on, so it's been a year, we're doing it, it was already 2023 by now, right? So we thought, okay, look, either we need to take it more seriously and start investing time, efforts, money in Amazon, or why do we actually do it? Let's not consider it as a serious business if we don't want to. So we had a discussion, me and my wife, and then we said, yeah, look, let's try. Let's try to make it more serious. Let's try to make it like potential future full-time income, because that's the ultimate goal for us. I still have corporate job. I've been with my company, for 20 years,
Okay.
worked in multiple regions, spent 10
Wow.
years in Dubai and so on.
Wow.
But
Okay. So does your
yeah,
wife work as well?
not at the moment. No, now she's a business owner along with
Right.
myself,
Okay.
but no, she doesn't have a full-time job. So we said, okay, let's take it seriously. And 2023 is when we started to source more products. We started to look at our brand. And this is where we actually used some of the resources available for us in the community. So we reached out to Hummingbird, and the team, Nathan's team, helped us to go through the brand registry in Amazon and submit our trademark application for our brand. So, along with that, the idea was that we could use some of the products that my wife produced and bundle them with some of the items that we sell well on Amazon and convert it into the proven branded bundles. And of course, to do that properly, what we did, we took a course which was led by Liana and
Right.
Nathan at the time,
Yep.
the first iteration of the proven, what do you call it?
Branded bundles.
Branded bundles. Yeah,
There
thank
we
you.
go.
Yeah. So this was our next step. So we've completed the course. The same year, we've added eBay to our portfolio of
Okay.
platform, continued to diversify, and started to also sell some of our branded bundles now on Amazon and eBay as well. And we've increased our portfolio of normal plans, let's call it, with new suppliers, mainly wholesale. And at that point, I think we ended 2023 a bit short of 300,000 in total,
Nice.
which was a significant progress from a year ago. Frankly, it was like, I would say, 4 times maybe growth that year. So we're
Wow.
quite happy with 2023.
Yeah.
Moving forward, 2024. So that was my first Bruin conference in Orlando last year.
Oh, cool. You came last year. You coming back this year?
Absolutely.
Good to
Absolutely.
hear. Outstanding.
Yeah. And that was another boost. Because for those who is still hesitant, because there's time, I don't know when the podcast will be live, but as we record, there's still time. Guys, it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. And it's not just the sessions that are absolutely amazing, but it's all the things around that, all the networking with fellow sellers, all the partners who will be there, offering multiple products. All of this is invaluable, and you don't need to kind of focus on everything. You need to focus on what you need for your businesses. But for me, what happened is I was sort of a little bit strategic when I went there, so I knew what I need to kind of focus on. Again, as I said, branded bundles, wholesale, few other tools that we wanted to implement at the time. So I went there knowing what I'm trying to get from it, but frankly, what I got was way more. And it was in completely different areas, which I didn't even think about. I'll give a couple of examples for the listeners.
Please. Yeah, that'd be great. So these are things that you learned that you weren't expecting to learn that
Exactly.
helped your business as a result of coming to the conference. And for the listener's sake, he's talking about the Proven Conference. There's a link in the show notes. The last 3 days of May 2025, theprovenconference.com has the information. But yeah, so what are those things that you learned that you didn't expect to learn as a result of the conference?
Yeah. So a couple of things I'll mention here. So part of the Proven Conference is so-called mastermind groups, right? So we were put in different mastermind groups, and then after the conference, we started to have regular meetings, catch-ups with the people in the groups. And I was lucky, frankly, because I had Doyle back in my mastermind group, and Doyle was
He's
on your
amazing.
podcast
Yeah.
recently.
He's
Not
great.
recently, a month ago, right? Or two.
Yep.
He's an absolute legend to me, not only what he built as his business, but he is an absolute legend and wealth of knowledge in credit cards and points and how to use it wisely, not to get yourself into trouble, into debt or anything. And I can tell you what I learned from him just about this part, credit card utilization, points, etc., was more brought me financially. I earned more money in points, in rebates, in cashback, and what have you, than it cost me to go to Orlando last year.
Tim, Brian and Robin Joy on our team, great leaders. They do about an episode a week or so around here on the show. They call those moments at our conference WPAs. Have you heard them talk about that? WPA.
No.
Worth the price of admission.
Mm.
That one tip, that one thing. And they say they go home every year from our conferences with a whole list of WPAs. Like if all they'd learned was that one thing, it more than justified the trip. And they come home
Yeah.
with dozens of them. Right. I love it. Yeah. So getting into credit cards, credit card points, rebates. Yeah, we've got people in our community doing those kinds of things. These are the kinds of things we talk about in the Facebook group and masterminds, which I'm so glad that sounds like you came as a VIP, which means you got plugged into a mastermind group, right?
Yeah.
So I love it. Okay. Well, keep the story going. What else did you learn? You got other examples for us?
So, well, there's a lot of golden nuggets that you get from sessions. Literally, it could be a small tip or one sentence said by someone, and immediately, you have your bulb
Light
in
bulb
your
moments.
mind.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
this
right.
moment, and then like,
Yeah.
wow, take a note. It's very important, actually. Take notes because people tend to forget things. At least me. I take notes,
We all do.
and
Yeah.
then you come home and then you review. And there was plenty. There was really, really a lot. Not only about the topics that I thought I would be interested in, but about other things like simple tips how to make your images way better for your own listings, for example, like what Liana talked about and showed, and the tools that mentioned proven to be invaluable for me. Not to mention that I was lucky to win a lottery that Be Cool had during the conference, and they provided a free access to Be Cool for a year, which paid another time for the conference. I actually,
Oh, you're the winner. Yeah, a great sponsor, the Repricer Be Cool. They're sponsoring us again this year. So you were the grand prize winner of a year of their service.
yeah,
Awesome. I love it. Yeah,
yeah,
lots of good prizes given away every year by sponsors. And so yeah, so another price of worth the price of admission. A prize you won, a tip you got from Leanna about taking better photos for your bundles. Outstanding. Yeah, good
Yeah.
stuff.
And a lot of things I just don't have in front of me right now, but trust me, it's absolutely worth it. And it gave us another boost for the business, gave us confidence. That's another point. It's very important when you do something, and typically we're on our own most of the time, right? And to hear that what you do is actually what other people do, some of them are more successful than you, bigger businesses, etc., and learn that actually what you're doing is actually very similar to what they do, gives you some confidence that you're on the right track and what you do makes sense. And then this networking is just sitting with them after hours and learning about their businesses, sharing what you know with other people who may be just starting, and what you're telling them is as important for them as what I learned. Well, the same stuff I learned from more experienced sellers is important for me. So it's a two-way street. So you share and you get the knowledge. So I think it's very important as well.
Fantastic. I love that we spent some time on this, Tim. One of the things that I've said at the opening of our last few events, I started doing this a few years ago, was encouraging everyone to engage in conversations and remember do you happen to remember, I'm not trying to test you here, but there's a magic 2-word question that I wanted everyone to ask during the event. You just hinted at it. Do you happen to remember
Yeah,
what it
how's the
was?
business?
How's business? There you
Yeah,
go. Great job. Like,
yeah,
yeah, I want you to spend your whole weekend
yeah,
walking up to anyone who's got a name badge on and just getting into a conversation. And here's 2 words to use if you don't have any other words. How's business? Because there's just so few places you can go in the world and enjoy that kind of camaraderie and validation, as you just alluded to. Like, oh, wow, you're doing 10 times more business than I am. You're a normal looking person. Why couldn't I do that? It reassures you that what we're doing here really does work. And there's people playing at a very high level in this arena. It's very encouraging. Every year I walk away exhausted and encouraged. I
right.
call it celebration fatigue after those 3 days because you're just hearing all these great stories and all this gratitude and people coming up and shaking your hand. And you'll have people, Tim, who will come up and say, "Hey, thank you for being on the podcast. You're the one that convinced me I needed to come. I just wanted to say thank you," right? Because that's the kind of community we've built here. So hundreds of people descending on Orlando the last 3 days of May 2025. Be there. The link is in the show notes. All right. So that's the conference. And thank you for going there. I had no idea you were going to bring that up, but I'm absolutely thrilled that the timing of this episode to encourage some people to come. We've got, just to give you a couple of stats about the event, we've got about 1,200 room nights booked at the hotel. That's just the people who are staying at the hotel. People are staying all over the place. We got great room rates. We've got about 45 breakout sessions planned on all kinds of topics. We have 1,200 people in the event Facebook group, which is crazy. That's the live stream viewers and the attendees. It's just got a lot of momentum. We're very excited about this event. And here it is, just as we're recording this a few weeks away. By the time people hear this episode, even less time, but there's still time to make it. So yeah, thanks for spending some time on that, Tim. But yeah, what else is in your mind? Let's get back in your story. You told us you had a really good 2023. You hit 300,000, which was quadrupling of the results you had previously, thanks
Right.
primarily to Amazon and some creative strategies you deployed from our community, from our training. So let's talk through 2024.
All right. So 2024. So we set a target for ourselves to double the business that year. And we've started to pay ourselves. By the way, this was the year when we started paying ourselves on a regular basis, like on a monthly basis. Because this concept of, you're working hard, you need to feel it. You need to feel it financially. So even though, we try to be conscious of how much money we extract from the business because we want to reinvest,
Mm-hmm.
but we thought, okay, around 5% at this stage, at these numbers would make sense. So that at least it's something. We feel it, but it doesn't really harm the business because we can reinvest the rest and we can continue growing.
Right.
That was the first time we started to really, really pay ourselves, pay you first, they say. We started Walmart last year. It was towards the end of the year. That was our most recent platform that we've expanded to. And of course, with all the changes on Amazon, and I heard it on many of the podcasts that you had recently as well. This is definitely something I would recommend for many sellers. as long as they reach the point when it's the right time for them to diversify, I think Walmart is a good option to start after Amazon. So we did it last year. We actually, well, and I joined Legends last year as well. You know, your sister community, if you call it. I don't know.
That's
Uh,
right. Yeah,
but
love
yeah,
Legends. Yeah, they'll have a big contingency at the conference as well. But
yeah.
yeah,
So
outstanding. So it's a big year.
it was a big year, but we failed to actually reach our goal. We
Okay.
couldn't reach 100% growth, but we reached 80% growth, which was still a significant growth. We hit 500,000 last year, which was still a good number to kind of brag about a little bit.
For sure.
And we feel proud of ourselves. And what happened was that we actually feel that we've reached the limit of what we can do in house because we've converted part of our garage into the warehouse. We've started to, well, actually, our daughter, she is graduating from her high school this year. She's a brilliant kid. So she started to help us last year with preps. And that definitely helped us to grow last year. But at some point, we realized even with her help, we just can't. I mean, we can do more. We can do the same. It's kind of challenging because, again, remember, I still have a full time job.
Full time. Yeah.
But to grow further, it might be a bit challenging. And it's time for us to start outsourcing. It's time for us to start looking at options to work on the business, not in the business, more than
Mhm.
what we did last year. So what we did is the first step. I talked to Jimmy in St. Louis when we were at the conference there, and he mentioned the prep center he was using and that they were looking for new customers. So I reached out to them, and I think this month we're starting using them. So this will be our first outsourcing tool. It's basically prep because it takes a lot of time for us to do it in house. So
Yes.
that will be the first step.
So you're going to get your garage back and pay someone else to prep your inventory. So I take it you're primarily online arbitrage and wholesale sourcing, that sort of thing for your inventory at this point.
Mostly we do wholesale at the moment. I don't do online arbitrage. We do wholesale, let's say 85% maybe
Okay.
to, yeah, about that. And then we have branded bundles.
Co-branded bundles. Are they
Whatever.
going to assemble your bundles for you as well?
No, we keep the
Good.
bundles ourselves, but
Good.
we
Good. Good.
divert the 85% of what we call replans to them, and
Yeah.
hopefully they can help us with that.
Outstanding. I love it. Yeah. Get your garage back. And I think
And buy my time back, right? Because
exactly.
I
You're
like
going
to,
to get your time back, which allows you to expand. I think you're going to make a lot more money. You're going to give up a little bit of your margin to get back a lot of your time, which allows you to find more products, build more relationships for more initiatives to launch new income streams.
yeah,
Fantastic. Yes,
yeah.
I love it.
And Kate Chaddick recently recommended a book for me, and Buy Back Your Time, obviously, by Dan Martell. And of
Yes.
course, that's exactly where I am right now. I need to buy back my time to
Hmm.
be able to focus on more strategic tasks.
Yeah, that's a great investment to free up your time. Not so you can have more time to watch Netflix, but so you can
No,
have more time to pour into launching new ideas and new revenue streams, right? To build your business and to live a more balanced life. I think you guys are going to find the new schedule very refreshing.
uh,
Of hey, we don't have to put tape on boxes for 6 hours on a Saturday anymore. We're making the same money, and now we get to go do something fun instead, right? Outstanding. I love it.
that's what my wife thinks more than anything else, because for her, it's been a very, very tough year. And I'm
Mhm.
really happy we're doing this. Actually, as you said, for the sake of mental well being as well, we
Yeah,
need a bit of a break. Not
healthy
in a sense,
routine.
like you
Mhm.
said, not to watch Netflix and stuff, but
Mhm.
to refocus us a little bit from this prep work.
Yeah, yeah. Well, anything worth doing is going to have a period of intense focused effort initially, uncomfortable, intense focused effort. Launching a business, getting into physical shape if you're out of shape, establishing a new relationship and a new home if you just got married. There's some intense focused, it's a shifting of your priorities, it's a rearranging of your life a little bit, but it's not sustainable forever. So you've been through that period of intense focused effort. Now you're ready for a new normal that's going to be a nice, refreshing change from where you were before all of this started. more income, a nice routine. You guys have been working together. I'm sure there's benefits there. You could probably tell me stories. Hey, you're working with my daughter. I never knew that would be possible. She's having fun, right? We're doing this as a family. Yes, it's been a challenge, I'm sure. And I don't want to take words out of your own mouth, but I've just heard these stories so many times. Working on something together as a family has so many benefits. Even if it doesn't go quite as well as we'd hoped, it's still an adventure that we took together. But in this case, it is going well. So well done, man. I love it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much, Jim. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Outstanding.
would like to thank the community, in fact, because honestly, without joining the community, I don't think we would be where we are today. Just the concept itself, right? I mean, of course, whoever is in the business, people need to put a lot of efforts, put a lot of time, and sometimes some money into it to get somewhere. But without some guidance, I think it's really, really difficult. But if you have a community, if you have people who would be willing to share with you their knowledge, and this is probably one of the main differentiators, right, for the community. Take this Facebook group alone, right? So many questions new people can ask. I did myself. I asked several times questions because when you start, you don't know how to print, I don't know, a barcode or how to properly pack the box. Things are obviously very easy and simple now, are
Mm-hmm.
not so easy when you've never done it. And even when you start Walmart, the fact that you don't need to print labels. Like, okay, I used to print labels for Amazon. You don't need to print barcodes. Sorry, barcodes. I mean, for Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you know if you've never done it? So, and because there's someone you can ask a quick question and you save yourself like so much time trying to really understand that on your own. So this community is absolutely invaluable, and that's why I want to extend our gratitude to everyone in the community. People are very, very helpful.
Well, yeah, there's so many good people in this community, and we've all benefited. And until you've experienced it, you could be skeptical, I guess, but there's something very special going on with this community, and it's infused within what we call an abundance mindset, meaning there's plenty for everyone. We just see e-commerce expanding so rapidly. The blue ocean of opportunity gets bigger every day. So why not do it with a community of people that you can help and they can help you? And we call it the cake versus candlelight, right? You've heard the analogy. You
Yep.
can see success as this little cake in the middle of a crowded room and everyone has to rush to the middle to try to get a bite. That's how a lot of people see success, unfortunately. Well, we repeat constantly around here. Success is like candlelight, meaning it doesn't cost me anything to share my candle with someone else who has an unlit candle and light their candle. I didn't lose anything. The room just got brighter. We see success through that lens, and it filters out too, like you just said, strangers helping strangers with common questions and benefiting along the way as they're getting their own questions answered as well. It's a place of positivity and support and encouragement. And we're proud of that culture that's been created here. And thank you, Tim, for contributing to that, because I know you do. Just by being on this podcast, you're contributing to that. So thanks for helping
Um,
build the culture. Hey, we'll get back to the great episode in just a moment. Sorry for the interruption, but I want to point something out. If you're enjoying this program, this podcast, could you do us a little favor? Could you spread the word? Send some friends to silentjimdotcom and say, hey, check out this podcast. Multiple streams of income, learn to sell on Amazon, great free content. Hey, help us spread the word. That's the way we market this show, is you sharing with others. That's why we have over 6 million downloads on iTunes alone. And speaking of iTunes, would you leave us a review? We love to see those iTunes reviews rolling in. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes as well. That really helps us out in the industry to get recognition and gain followers and subscribers. If you subscribe yourself, leave us a review. By the way, did you know that this show that you're listening to right now was voted as the #1 podcast for Amazon sellers by an independent survey in late 2024? That's right, the #1 show for Amazon sellers. We won, and you're a big part of why. So thank you for being a listener. You're the best part of this show. But hey, help us spread the word if you don't mind. That helps us continue to bring you quality content, attract high quality sponsors, and other listeners who will pay attention to what we're doing here, because we want to teach you to use the internet creatively to launch and grow multiple streams of income. We need your help to spread the word. We want to help others do the same. All right. God bless you, business building warrior. Thanks for a couple moments of your time. Let's get back to the show, because I know you do. Just by being on this podcast, you're contributing to that. So thanks for helping build the culture.
No, 100%, Jim. And I'd like to say one more thing about the community while we're on this topic, if it's okay with you.
Absolutely. Speak from the heart, man.
I think when we talk about, training courses, people should see it as an investment. It's an investment in their business. It's the same type of investments when you pay for, equipment, inventory, or something, but you invest in knowledge.
Mhm.
And as any investment, like for me, you need to be cautious about your investment, right? Because you can't just spend money on anything. So everyone, in my opinion, should spend money on what they need for their business right now. And in this community, in PAC, in multiple other courses, you have vast variety of different trainings, products, courses, groups that you could choose from. And basically, you don't need to buy everything at the same time, because it's not going to be wise. But you need to pick what you need now for your business. Like in my case, in the beginning, it's just me. I don't like to be coached directly by someone. So I thought, okay, coaching is there. I know, but that's not the right thing for me right now. I want to start with PAC and see how it goes. And when I reached the point that, okay, now I need some help with my brand registry, there is a resource that I could use. And I did. I went and we used Hummingbird for that resource. When I felt like, okay, now for my business, I need to get more knowledge about the branding bundles. Okay, now I purchase the course, I go there. I didn't purchase a course on online arbitrage because I don't do that.
Right.
People who would do online arbitrage and don't do some other stuff, they have that option too. So the good thing about the community is that whatever your model is, whether you're doing retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, wholesale, or even if you talk about training to give yourself like a boost to start faster, to skip some of the hurdles that maybe we went through, it's all there. It's available. And as long as you know what you need for your business and you make your choices smart, it's not such a hit for your wallet, if I may say it this way, because as long as you're smart, you pick what you need, you'll be successful. And the good thing of the community is that it's there, it's available. And you don't need it right now. Okay, maybe you need it in 1 year from now, and then you'll get it then. So I think this is one of the advantages that we have. You have stuff for new people, new entrepreneurs who's just starting their business, and then you have stuff for more advanced businesses, which is also very helpful. So I think that's a big advantage of the community as well.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. I appreciate it. You illustrated it beautifully. What we've tried to do here is we call it just-in-time education instead of just-in-case education, which is what we all kind of grew up with when we went to school. They're teaching us all these things just in case we need them someday. We don't do that here. We'd rather teach you what you need right now for where you are to get you a few steps further in the right direction. And once you're there, you're going to need new things. And we're going to have what you need just in time once you arrive at that point. And the beauty of having a large community we call them our silos around here. I don't know if I've ever told that word on the podcast or not before, but we call them our silos. So you mentioned Leanna. She is our branded bundle silo manager. All right, we've got Joseph, who is our Walmart silo manager. And so these are experts. We expect them to stay up to date on policy and opportunities and cutting edge strategies for the students who step into that silo. And they've got teams or other tools that they recommend that are part of that silo. And then we measure their success as silo managers based on the success of the students that enter that silo. So that's the machine. I've just pulled back the curtain. That's what we do here. And we've got multiple silos at any given time, 12 to 15 different silos. And you identified a few of them. And one of them is, hey, I'm new and I don't even know what questions to ask. That's a silo. Brian and Robin Joy Olson handle it very well, and you hear them on our podcast quite frequently. So yeah, that's what we do here. And I love your perspective, Tim, and how you kind of broke it down of what you've experienced as you've stepped through. Yeah, there's no need. We've never had a course that sells for thousands of dollars. All of our competitors do, it seems like. We don't. $39 a month gets you what you need when you need it. That's what we do here. And you've experienced that. So yeah, I love hearing your version of that. We put a lot of hard work into it. Thank you for sharing that with us today.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, well, what else is on your mind? What else were you hoping to talk about today? We've heard your story. Great job on you quadrupled your business, then you had an 80% growth year, and that brings us to this year. Do you have any goals for 2025?
Well, there is one which is quite, I would say, challenging to get to 7 digits. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
It definitely has to do with some outsourcing. We can't do it from home, that's clear. So now we're already 4 months in. So we'll see if we can get there. But I think we should keep it as our goal so that if we don't achieve it, but stay close to that or short of that, I mean, that's okay, as long as there's still significant growth year on year, because ultimately that's what matters. That's what matters. And I think diversification, outsourcing, and using time more strategically is another goal, which is not quantified in dollar value, but it's a restructure of our small business, if you will, to work, as I mentioned, more on the business rather than in the business, without losing a lot of our profit margin. Of course, we obviously need to be very cautious about that as well, with adding all this outsourcing opportunities, facilities, and help. We obviously, as you said, sharing the margin. So we just need to make sure that we increase the volume accordingly, or save elsewhere.
Right. Yes. So you use some of your margin to automate and build systems, which allows you to grow the pie even bigger. I'd rather have 10% of a huge pie than 20% of a tiny pie, right? That's where lower margins make more sense because you've grown the pie and you've also freed up your time to create other pies and get a piece of those too, right? That's the gig. That's multiple streams of income in e-commerce. And that's what we do here. Outstanding. So we didn't hit this. What are your margins? Like if you happen to know off the top of your head, approximately 2024, right? You said you did, what did we say? 500? No, eight.
Yeah, a bit more than 500. Yeah.
550, something like that. Yeah. So what was your net margin there?
Approximately 20% ish.
That's beautiful. Good job.
Well, yes. And if you deduct everything, including our pay ourselves, like after everything, it would be more like 15, 17 in that range.
But still, yeah, 20% before you paid yourself. That's a beautiful, healthy business for a guy who's running. You've got a full-time corporate career. You've got a job.
Yeah.
This is your side gig. $500,000 at 20%. Phenomenal. Well done. Well done.
No, thank you.
Yeah,
and
because
of course,
I know what goes into that.
Thanks to my wife as well, because she's absolutely essential part of it.
What's her name?
Nadia.
Nadia. Are you guys coming? You coming together or just you to Orlando?
No, today to Orlando. No, she's not coming because again, we have 2 kids and one of them is graduating this year, so we have a lot of other stuff to tackle. So just me this year, but frankly, we planned to come together, but then we had to change that, and this year it will be just me. Maybe next year.
Yeah. Very good. Well, I look forward to seeing you regardless, and tell Nadia, well done. Very proud of you guys. You're inspiring a lot of people with your story and sharing it. Thank you for sharing it, by the way. Most people that we ask to share their story, they're not willing to do it for whatever reason. Some of them are very valid reasons. So whenever someone does step up and say, yeah, I'll share our story, I always appreciate that. Well, what else do you want to talk about? What else is on your mind? Any tips or strategies for the listeners, or any questions for me about anything that's going on right now that that might be useful for others as well?
Maybe a couple of things I'll mention, especially for newer sellers. I think at least that's what we do. I didn't mention it, but we stay within our niche, very specific niche that originated from my wife's hobby. We didn't extend ourselves to everything. So we don't sell everything. We sell very much arts and crafts and specifically stuff related to her niche. And because we use multiple platforms, we try to grow our brand within this niche, if you see what I mean. So the email list, the followers on the Facebook group, all of that brings a lot of value. I don't know, people may say, oh, emails, who reads emails? Email lists are dead, whatever. It's absolutely not. We have several thousand followers on our Facebook group. We have several thousand in our email list. And trust me, every time I send out something about our new products, something about our deal, something about, people would absolutely read it, buy it, and we definitely see an impact of this. So if you have people who are interested in what you do and they like your product, they like what you do, it's very, very important to kind of have a way to stay in touch with them and market your business.
Yes.
Very targeted
I
to the
completely
people who are
agree.
interested, you know?
I love email marketing. We do a ton of it. As a matter of fact, the email service provider that we use, it's basically our customer relationship management software, our CRM, has tens of thousands of users. But we're one of the larger users, so we have an assigned account rep. And that account rep recently told me that of all the clients he has, and he has all the high-end clients, we have the cleanest email metrics, meaning more people are opening our email and our complaint rate is low. The spam complaints are low. And he just loves our account. So I love email marketing, and I know very well the power of engaging intentionally with the prospects who've given you their email address and handling it well. So maybe you and I could talk offline sometime, some strategy, because I really enjoy that sort of thing. And if the listeners are interested, I could do more content on those types of things as well. I love that you've got a large, robust Facebook group as well. How many people are in that group? You said a few
At
thousand?
this stage, we have 3,000, but it's very niche oriented. So
Yeah.
frankly, when you think 3,000, oh, is it a lot? Maybe not. But if you think about 3,000, like I think you said it sometime in the past, when you have 3,000 people standing in front of you in real life, it's a lot of people.
Yes.
And 3,000 is not small. And even if you have 200 followers, think of these people in front of you. That is not small. I mean, any number would, definitely help your business. You start slow, and then slow and steady wins the race.
That's right. That's one of the sayings we have around here. Great book, The Tortoise and the Hare. It's slow and steady wins the race. If I'm much more concerned about trajectory, where you're going, where you're pointed, than I am about what you're achieving right now. It's the trajectory. It's the direction you're heading. So you've got this 3,000 member Facebook group. You're adding a few people a day, adding value, creating content. Absolutely. Yeah. And again, I'd love to talk to you offline, perhaps for a couple minutes after we end the show today, about some strategies that we've deployed in Facebook. And if the listeners want to hear more of that kind of thing, let me know. But we're pretty focused on e-commerce, Amazon, Walmart, that sort of thing, typically on the show, not so much about the higher end, influence, growing an audience, that sort of thing. Although I'd be happy to create content if people want to hear those sorts of things as well. But yeah, well done, Tim. You guys have multiple income streams. You've diversified your approach to earning income online. You still got your full-time career. Any plans to go full-time
Oh,
business? Are you
yes.
comfortable talking about that?
That's the plan, the ultimate goal. And when you asked about the goals, that's one of them. I don't want to put any specific timeline. It needs to be smooth financially for the family. I just want to make sure that we literally don't feel it, if you see what I mean. And I don't want to put my company in a position that I suddenly tell them, look, I'm leaving in 2 weeks. So it's going to be a process. And when we are ready, we'll see. This year, unlikely. Next year, who knows? Yeah, that's one of the things.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
And one thing, just maybe the last tip from me when we started, especially.
Sure.
People sometimes are afraid of slower ASINs and try to look for something that would look like this on Keepa with dozens or hundreds of sales per month.
Right.
But our experience was that as let's call it a slow ASIN, which is not really that slow, but let's say, I don't know what, 10 a month, or let's say 10 a month.
10 drops per month
10 drops. Yeah,
on
you're right.
Keepa?
Drops
Right.
is not necessarily the number of sales. It could be more sales, right?
Correct.
So 10 drops a month on an ASIN with three sellers, two of them FB and one FBA, versus 300 drops ASIN with 20 FBA sellers. Some of them are really big ones with 100,000 reviews. I don't say go for the slow one. I'm saying go for both if it makes sense, because you will probably see that your slow one with less competition will actually sell probably similar number of times for you as you compare it with the fast one with lots of big competitors on a listing. And I prefer to have 100 ASINs that will sell 3 times a month for me even versus 300 times on one ASIN. Because
Yes.
first of all, it's again another diversification, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And one ASIN, anything can happen. You never know, and your impact on your business will be huge. I'd rather have 100, and then of course something happens with 3 of them. I don't even feel like any impact really. So that's why I encourage people to not ignore slower ASINs. Consider competition, consider the margin, obviously, and if it makes sense, go for it. Don't ignore fast ASINs, but I would say complement them with slower ASINs as well.
Beautiful. Yes, I love it. That's our inch deep, mile wide philosophy that solves so many challenges that you'll encounter as a seller if you ignore it. Like, for example, right now, what we're hearing from a lot of people, Tim, is, oh no, I just got gated in a brand that I've been selling for 8 months. That ASIN is gone. What am I going to do? It's terrible. They're just panicked. Amazon wants me to send in 300 units in a recent invoice. And they're saying they may or may not ungate me, and they're really upset about it. Well, that tells me that that seller isn't very diversified. If losing one ASIN from your catalog or even one brand impacts you in a significant way, you were not diversified enough. So your advice, Tim, is spot on. The way you said it, I would rather have 100 ASINs that sell 3 times a month each than 3 ASINs that sell 100 times a month each. Same number of total sales, but a far higher risk profile, a scarier risk profile. Diversify. And I know on my team, it's rare that we buy more than 10 units of anything. We just don't. Because we know at any given time, any ASIN could go away. And if something goes away for whatever reason, there's 50 reasons it could go away. It could stop being made. Amazon could swoop in and sell them for $1 a piece. And you're like, how are you selling them for $1? They cost me $15, right? Anything, any scenario like that can come in. You could get gated. The brand could be recalled. On and on and on and on it goes. You've got to be prepared. Every ASIN in your catalog has a shelf life. It will go away at some point. We're resellers, right? So that's going to happen. Diversify. That's how you protect yourself. And as many times as we say it, Tim, we say it over and over. We pound it into our training. We pound it into our Facebook group. We pound it into our podcast. Every day, without exception, there's someone who jumps into our Facebook group and says, I had a great selling ASIN and it's gone now because fill in the blank, and they're panicked. And diversify. That's the reason we had these mugs made up for those who can't see what I'm holding up. It's a coffee mug that says simply, keep calm and test more ASINs. That's the solution to every challenge in the reselling business on Amazon every single time. Well, brilliant episode. It's great getting to know you, Tim. Was there anything else? You've dropped some good stuff on us here today. A very encouraging episode.
I think it's all good. I think maybe one question for you, and that will be from my side.
Sure.
With the most recent changes in Amazon, which is obviously a constant change by itself, as we all know, and specifically them cutting the inventory levels that you could keep at FBA, warehouses.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts on that? I mean, would you recommend faster turnaround, less inventory there, which is then a risk that you will get to like no ace, no inventory available at some point, because it's really challenging to try to maintain exactly the way we want diversification to FBM, or even just prioritizing Walmart. What would be your thoughts on that most recent development that we're seeing?
Sure. And you could be bringing up any number of challenges and changes, like you said, and that's part of your question. Amazon, well, first it was eBay, now it's Amazon and Walmart. Over the, let's say, approximately 25 years that my coaching partner Nathan and I have been doing e-commerce, we've seen at least 100 challenges that have kind of been dropped on sellers that have made them go, okay, I'm going to have to shift my strategy either significantly or at least enough to where I'm going to feel a pain here 100 times. And all 100 times, it's been true every single time. There's a creative strategy to pivot, and there's new opportunities available that weren't available before. And the people who are flexible and ready to pivot, which is the advantage of being small, we're all small. I mean, unless you're doing $50 million a month on Amazon, you're small. You're a small business. Yeah. We all are. Everyone listening to this show is a small business. You can pivot, you can adjust. So, specifically, the change that you're talking about, just to restate your question back, Amazon recently cut most people's storage space back, at least a third, in some cases a half or so, something like that, saying, hey, you don't have as much space at our warehouses as you did before. Sorry, we're kind of filling up here. Not everybody saw this, but a lot of sellers did. What do you do in that scenario? Well, really, all you're asking me is a math question at that point. Let's say I've got 100 ASINs that I like to stock at Amazon. And Amazon comes and says, hey, we've only got room for your favorite 70 on our shelves. Basically, that's what they're saying, right? So you've got to know which your best ones are. The well-informed seller, if you're using a tool, such as I know 3P Mercury can do this instantly for you. If you don't know what 3P Mercury is, maybe you do know, Tim, but for those who don't know, go to silentjimdotcom/the system. It talked to you about 3P Mercury, which is a workflow software for resellers on Amazon and Walmart. You can very quickly see what are my top performers. I'm going to chop out the bottom 30% and decide what to do with them. They're profitable, but they're not my best performers. So what am I going to do with my best performers? Like you mentioned, Tim, maybe I'm going to merchant fulfill those instead of going FBA. And I can tell you, every time Amazon makes a pivot or a change, there's opportunity there that didn't exist before. If you're paying attention, there's opportunity. So the shelf space just got a little, it's at a premium now. The shelf space at Amazon's warehouses is more at a premium. You just have to be a little more cautious what you're going to send in. You adjust. You hold on to all those good ASINs. You keep an eye on them. When they become one of your top performers, you bump them onto that list. But if you've got limited storage space at Amazon, that's why we talk about having multiple income streams too. Maybe you send some of that stuff to Walmart, maybe eBay, you double down on Etsy. Maybe you start doing more merchant fulfilled, right? These are the kind of creative solutions that bubble up in our community constantly, and people more creative than me are addressing these things constantly in our group as well. But there's always a creative strategy, a pivot. Find a prep center who does merchant fulfilled. Some people will say, oh, I can't merchant fulfill. I don't want to ship stuff from my own house. You don't have to. There's prep centers that'll do that for you. And once again, the solution, keep calm, keep testing more ASINs. If you got to merchant fulfill some of them, do it, right? But I do see the ebb and the flow in Amazon's warehouse network of storage space availability. They'll crank down, then they'll expand, then they'll crank down, then they'll expand. It's this constant, it's almost like a breathing motion. If it's expanding right now, the one thing you know for sure is it's going to shrink again at some point. That's just part of the ebb and flow of them trying to manage their shelf space in their warehouse network. The good news is, a few points of good news, big picture good news. Amazon is building a whole bunch of new warehouses. I actually met a guy, that's what he does for a living, is he travels around to the new sites where Amazon's building warehouses and gets the system rolling for those new. He's like, there's so many new warehouses going in, it's crazy. So more shelf space is coming. Here's more good news. E-commerce is the fastest growing economic sector in the United States. Nothing's growing faster than e-commerce. Amazon is the biggest player in that space. More opportunities coming. More shoppers are coming. More shelf space is coming. The trends, all the big trends are in our favor. I've even been monitoring Keepa lately, right? Which I'm not, if you don't know what Keepa is, go listen to episode 369 of this podcast, 369. I'll tell you all about it. But I've been monitoring it, and it tells me that the trend of how many eligible ASINs are on Amazon for us to sell against as resellers, it's going up. The trend line is moving in a beautiful upward direction. Millions. This is the exact numbers, Tim. I do the search every few days, and I look on Keepa and I say, how many ASINs right now have 0 FBA sellers? All the sellers could be merchant fulfilled, right? So they're popular selling products that are only merchant fulfilled by other sellers. At any given day, there's between 2 and 2.7 million products on Amazon that have 0 units sitting in a warehouse. It's wide open. It's just wide open. So that's, I know your question was about shelf space has been cut back, but I'm answering the bigger picture question.
Right.
All the trends are in our favor. Don't let that make you think that the opportunity is shrinking, because it's not. It just means you've got to get a little more creative. You've got to know what your most profitable ASINs are. Focus more on them. If you're used to sending in 50 at a time, maybe you send in 15 at a time instead. Problem solved, right? And you've got less inventory sitting in their warehouse. You've got less long-term storage fees. I'm fine selling out of inventory. I'd rather be selling out every month versus having a lot of extra inventory I don't know what to do with, or getting big shipments back from Amazon when there's, some reason it's recalled. I'd rather get 2 or 3 units, sell them on Facebook Marketplace, flip them on eBay, done with it. I don't want to get 150 units of anything back. That's just my personal philosophy. So for those of us who are small, flexible, nimble, minimal impact on these kinds of things, and more storage space will be coming soon. Other creative solutions that pop into my head on something like this is, hey, if I've got some great ASINs and Amazon doesn't have room for them, I'm going to jump in a mastermind with some other people. Let's swap ASINs. Hey, here's a great one. When you get a good one, give it to me. Let's build a community list of ASINs that we can all kind of hop on when we need a good one. Throw them in the pool, build some relationships, right? Or my last idea, just brainstorming out loud, is some of these brands that you're selling, some of these brands that have been consistent performers for you, reach out to that brand, build a relationship, have a conversation, talk about helping them represent their brand in a better way on Amazon, start partnering up with them. Now it's not your account anymore that's selling that ASIN. It's their account that's selling that ASIN, and you're getting a percentage of it. Right? So there's another creative pivot for folks to consider. Happens all day, every day in our community. Get creative, build relationships. So that's my brainstorm list. I'm sure there's other ideas, and there are great ideas in our Facebook group right now, and people talking about that challenge and others. So good question, Tim. Thanks for asking. Hope I didn't beat it up too much, but
no, every challenge is an opportunity. Yeah, absolutely right.
100%. Yes, opposition and opportunity are similar overlapping words for a reason. They come hand in hand every single time. Opportunities are going to bring new opposition. Opposition is going to bring new opportunity. They are linked, inseparable in every possible scenario. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Well, Tim, it's been great hanging out with you, my friend. And see you here in just a few weeks, man.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me, Jim. And I'll see you in Orlando.
I can't wait. Yeah. And for those who hung out with Tim and I today, the listeners who joined our show, thank you. You're the best part of our show. You're the reason we do this. You gave us a very valuable gift today, some of your time. Thank you for that. Hopefully you picked up a lot of really good golden nuggets from our conversation. I've got some good news for you as well. If you like this and you're new, hey, we've got hundreds of interviews with proven Amazon course students. That's what this show is. It's a flywheel of sharing great ideas and then interviewing people who have implemented those ideas to tell their stories. That's how we've come up with over 1,000 episodes, most of which are interviews with successful students like Tim, who you just heard. And if you want to come meet him, come to our conference. in Orlando the last 3 days of May 2025. Theprovenconference.com is the website. We mentioned a lot of great resources today. Go to the show notes, look near this video if you're listening on YouTube or watching, and look for the links to everything we talked about today. We'll get it all out there for you so you don't have to remember any of the links we mentioned. But on behalf of the team that puts these episodes together, we're so thrilled that you joined us today. We have many great episodes coming your way soon. Hey, Tim, one last time. Thank you, my friend. God bless you, buddy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And to all the listeners, the business building warriors, we're in your corner. We're here fighting for you. We can't wait to hear your success story. Be a part of our community. God bless you. We'll meet again soon.